We knew it was going to be an absolute dogfight for the Toronto Raptors in round 2 of the NBA playoffs versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Game 1 went really well. Game 2, not so much. You're listening to the TO Sports Talk podcast, Season 2, Episode 17 of the TO Sports Talk podcast. Evan's here along with me, my co-host, and I'm James Price, the host of TO Sports Talk. And, man, oh man, the first 2 games had some great things for the Raptors in Game 1, but then it was a terrible Game 2.
Well, we saw the bench in Game 2 was horrendous.
Yeah.
Was terrible. Kawhi Leonard carried that team. What, did he have close to...
I think he had 35, I think it was.
35, and then he had 45 in Game 1.
Yeah.
So, the bench was nowhere to be found in Game 2. Now this is concerning to me because last year we saw that the Raptors bench was terrific. In the playoffs, it was iffy, but you can't rely on Kawhi and Pascal to do everything. And in Game 2, we saw that Pascal didn't have a great shooting percentage, only shot, 30-something percent?
He was 21.7 rebounds on 9 of 25, 36 shooting, and he was 2 of 7 from 3, only 28% from 3.
Right, and we knew that this series was going to be a dogfight, like you just mentioned, and I said Raptors in 6, you said in 7, so roughly the same prediction here.
And we expect something. You can't expect like a sweep or a 5-gamer. No. The Philly is too good of a team.
Oh, for sure.
And clearly, Joel Embiid is hurt. I mean...
Well, he's not hurt. He has the shits. Apparently, no. Apparently, he said in an interview, this was prior to Game 2, I think, that he had the quote-unquote shits, and he was coughing all game long. So he's not injured, but he's sick.
You look at his double-doubles, right? And the last time Joel Embiid did not have a double-double was January 19th against the Oklahoma City Thunder, where he had 31 and 8. The first 2 games against the Toronto Raptors, 16 and 8. 12 and 6.
I mean, he could be hurt, but he did say that he did have food poisoning or he was sick with the flu or something, but he could also be hurt on top of that. That is true.
Now,
we don't know.
If he isn't as hurt as everyone say he is, Marc Gasol's doing a pretty damn good job on him. Whenever Serge Ibaka gets on him, though, it's an issue.
Yeah. And going into the series, I mean, did we really expect that to happen? I mean, I would have expected that Serge Ibaka would have played a bit better defensively on Joel Embiid than Marc Gasol.
Really?
That's just me. A little bit, but I mean, obviously that's not the case.
You win Defensive Player of the Year. You win to get all defensive teams for a reason.
Right.
And Marc Gasol, you saw what he did to Nikola Vukovic, made him do absolutely nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So the way he's containing and not allowing any physical play with Joel Embiid to happen, it's great. But with Serge Ibaka, he's jumping. He's trying to block the Joel Embiid shot.
Pump fake, jumps, and then
you just got to keep him in front of you.
And it's easier said than done, but we would love to see those 2 players. Marc Gasol's doing his job. He's doing fine. He's defending the ball well. But with Serge Ibaka, he has to calm down, and he has to realize that, like you said, you can't be jumping and you can't be toying with these pump fakes.
Joel Embiid in the post is a freaking nature. He's a big man, right? He can body you.
7'2", 260, 270.
Joel Embiid shooting the 3 this year is only 30%. That's not good. I'd settle for him taking threes. If he's gonna knock down 5 threes a game, fine, let him do it.
Well, I don't think he's gonna knock down a 3 when Marc Gasol's draped all over.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying about Serge Ibaka. Because Serge Ibaka, when he's taking a 3, is kind of jumping at him, and obviously the pump fake, right? So Serge is jumping out, and he's getting the fouls. And I mean, you gotta stay down. Let a guy like that shoot the 3.
Well, put your hand in his face, obviously,
of course.
But don't jump.
No,
because if you jump pump fake, you just drive to the lane. Now, let's talk about Kyle Lowry. What did you think of him with turnovers and whatnot? Because in Game 1 he had, or was it Game 1 or 2, where he had that weird, was it Mike Scott he threw the ball in between the legs of or something? Or,
I'm not sure.
Or who was that? I don't know. But I think the turnovers are a bit of an issue with Kyle Lowry, no?
He had 3 turnovers in the first 2 games. Right. Two in Game 2, 1 in Game 1.
Mm-hmm.
So, not really, to be honest with you.
Okay, well.
But in Game 2, look, Kyle Lowry had 20 points, 5 boards, and 5 rebounds. Yes, I understand he shot 7 of 17, which is only 41%, not very good. But he was 2 of 6 from 3, which is 33%. Again, still low, but look, he did his thing. I'm looking more towards a guy like Marc Gasol and Danny Green, a guy who was one of the best 3-point shooters in the league this year. And we saw the way that he ended the year. He couldn't miss a shot. But you go in that game, and Marc Gasol and Danny Green combined for 2 of 14. That's not good.
Well, we've seen in Game 2, perfect example, Kawhi Leonard cannot carry this team. It's simple as that. There has to be other supporting cast around Kawhi Leonard for the Raptors to succeed. And going into the playoffs, I think a majority of us said, oh, Kawhi's going to take over. Kawhi's going to lead the Raptors to the NBA championship, which is true, but you can't rely on him as much as the Raptors did in Game 2.
Right.
And that's the problem. It has to be a team game, and I do agree with you. I think that Danny Green needs to step up a little bit, and just the bench itself. Now, this is going to be a huge test tonight at 7 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock at the Wells Fargo Center in Philly. And what are your expectations? I mean, I want the Raptors to win, but that game, I mean, it was close, but I don't know. What are your expectations?
I mean, we obviously know Philly's going to come out flying. You know Joel Embiid loves firing the crowd up, and it's going to be hard. I mean, like, it's not going to be an easy test there tonight, but for the Raptors, knock down your shots, and if you get some productivity from your bench, great. You saw in Game 2, Greg Monroe, for God's sakes. He had 10 points and 5 rebounds in 12 minutes. I mean, he torched the Raptors. Of course, a former Toronto player torches it.
Former Toronto team.
Yeah.
Well, Toronto team, yeah.
But you look at the bench, and we've talked about Danny Green and Marc Gasol struggling. Then you have Kyle firing up 20 and Kawhi with 35
Which is
and
good.
Pascal
Kyle,
21.
yeah.
Right? That's fine. But you talked about those two guys struggling, but the bench. Fred VanVleet did not get a single point. He was 0 of 2 shooting. He missed the 1 3 he took, and minus 18 while he was on the floor. Norman Powell, 3 points on 1 of 3 shooting. He minus 17. Ibaka, 1 of 5. Jody Meeks, he took 1 shot and he missed it in the 2 minutes. Bottom line, the bench made 3 shots the entire game.
So
Sorry,
Fred
2.
VanVleet was on the court for 18 minutes and only shot the ball twice.
And he didn't make either of them.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Ibaka took 5. He missed.
Yeah,
he missed 4 of them. I mean, look, the bench. All right, let me do some math here. The bench went 2 of 11.
That's not good.
It's not good at all.
And plus, I think that they should shoot the ball a bit more, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Norman Powell is great when his defense is active, but clearly it hasn't been the case. Now, if you're Nick Nurse and you're going into Game 3, clearly something hasn't worked with the bench in Game 2, and really even Game 1 for that matter. A guy like Patrick McCaw might not be a bad option to play here, just because of the defense that guy brings. He's lanky. He's athletic. He's really, really. How do I put it?
Who would you put him on?
I don't know if I'd put him. I'm not sure who I'd put him on, but I think those 2 minutes you had for Jody Meeks, I'd say you definitely flipped them with.
Well, I think that we needed points, and I would throw out Jody Meeks if you want straight points rather than Patrick McCaw.
Jody Meeks was a -4 in 2 minutes.
Right.
It's just it's not.
No, it's not. But I think that the Raptors needed points. That's why they threw out guys who could potentially give them points rather than. But it didn't work.
Patrick McCaw's energy as well.
Has he played in the playoffs at all?
No, he hasn't. He had that injury there.
I don't know about throwing him out. I mean,
you need to play him,
right?
You played 4 bench guys.
If there's an injury to be then maybe throw him out there. But for now, I think you give this bench one more go at it.
The problem is, dude, there's only 4 guys that played, and Jody Meeks is the 4th guy who only played 2 minutes. Only the 3 bench guys played over 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Because obviously Pascal played 40, Kawhi played 42, Gasol 35, Danny Green 32, Lowry 42 minutes. You have so many guys on the bench. Ideally, the loss of OG Anunoby has probably hurt that bench so much, and he's still not. He probably won't even be back for this round. So you kind of can't really dwell on that. You got to try and move on.
Well, the thing about OG is that he struggled during the season, but for right now, I think we do need him.
But his defense during the playoffs is something.
We all saw him on LeBron last year, and it surprised all of us.
Yeah.
So going into Game 3, we hope that this. I wouldn't say starting bench, but the bench rotation will wake up. If they don't, and the Raptors are down 2-1, then you put in McCaw. Then maybe you can throw in Jeremy Lin.
You don't want to start getting down in the series because then you go into Game 4 and you're like, well, we kind of need this win.
Yeah.
So I know. I think
this is important.
I think you look to fire in a guy like Patrick McCaw now. I really do. Jody Meeks is not a very good defender.
So you would throw him in over Jody Meeks.
Right, but you look at the way that the bench has been torn apart. I understand offensively they haven't done anything, but defensively they're getting torched apart. A guy like
and
Jody.
Plus for offense, sorry to interrupt, but you have Freddie VanVleet.
Right.
You have Norman Powell.
Right. You have Serge Ibaka.
Who don't give you good defense, but they could put up a lot of points.
Okay, hold on. Norman Powell.
Norman Powell, okay, but Freddie VanVleet and Serge Ibaka, sure, they could put up some points, but defensively, nah.
Other than blocking shots, Ibaka's
not the greatest. You just said he was on Embiid and whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But that's why I'm thinking a guy like
put
Patrick
in Patrick
McCaw.
McCaw just to even things out. I do agree with you there, but I don't think Nick Nurse is going to do that today. But if the Raptors lose Game 3, you have to change up something. If the same thing happens and the bench doesn't provide anything, and you see Kawhi throw up 35 again, and you see Pascal throw up 25, and Lowry throw up, I don't know, 15 or 20 again, and the bench does nothing, then you switch something up. But I think that you got to give him one more game just to test the waters a little bit and see, okay, who's performing well and who isn't, because it's only one game this has happened. So, I don't know.
Fred VanVleet has not scored in double figures since Game 1 against Orlando.
He may be the problem, too. I mean, why not? At this point, maybe throw in Jeremy Lin. I know he wasn't good at all, but...
And Serge Ibaka through the first 2 games has done absolutely nothing.
Well, we kind of need Serge.
You definitely do. And Norman Powell in the first 2 games has got a total of 3 points going into his name. The bench has not done anything in the first 2 games.
Yeah.
Why wait a third one?
Yeah.
And put the same thing out there?
So
and just hope to God Kawhi Leonard, Pascal, and Lowry shoot the ball great when you win the game.
But really, throwing in Patrick McCaw is not going to make a big difference.
No, but he'll give you the defense. He'll give guys like Norman Powell and Fred VanVleet runouts, and he's a guy Raptor fans have learned to love.
I don't know. I just can't see throwing in one guy and getting rid of Jody Meeks is gonna propel the bench into them being good. Like that's I
never know.
You never know, but I mean, really, I don't think it's really going to change much. If it does, yip-de-doo, but 9 times out of 10 it won't, because it's one guy who's a G League player. Oh,
you got to do something.
You have to do something, but
and who else are you going to do?
Change.
I mean, Malcolm Miller, Jeremy Lin, Eric Moreland.
That's why I say maybe throw in Jeremy Lin instead of Fred VanVleet. Give Freddie. No. Well, I'm just saying if you really want to switch things up, you can do that. But the bench, whether Patrick McCaw is in or out, it doesn't matter. The bench has to perform. I think we can both agree on that.
Well, yeah, that's why they'd make the move, just for the bench to improve.
No, you're right, but I'm just saying if Patrick McCaw is in, the bench still has to perform. If Patrick McCaw's not in, the bench still has to perform.
Absolutely. But I think you have a guy on D, because with the Raptors, you got to realize with this defense, with the bench unit defense, and we've seen a lot of Pascal with the second unit and whatnot. But that's one guy. He can't really carry that defense. But if they're giving up a ton of points on that second unit, right? Because you look at Fred VanVleet, played 18 minutes, minus 18. Powell, 16 minutes, minus 17. Ibaka, 13 minutes, minus 12. You're not having a lot of runouts. You're getting the shot put against you, and then you're coming against 5 players, right? The Raptors are so good. And when they get stops, get runouts.
Yeah.
I mean, but with that bench, they're not getting stops. So they aren't moving. That's why I think a guy like Patrick McCaw might not be a bad fit to fire in there for this game.
So we don't know if he's playing this game because it should be pretty much announced any time now.
Well, he's available. He's been available to play, I think, this entire series.
Right, but Nick Nurse will say if he's going to be available for this game or if he's not going to be dressed. If he's going to be in a suit. Well, actually, no. They probably still have to dress him no matter what, just in case if there's an injury.
Yeah.
But I don't know if the starting rotation in the bench, they're going to announce it on Twitter or something.
Well, he won't be
prior to the game.
They just do the starting lineup.
Right, just the starting lineup. But we saw in Game 2, James Butler is a freak of nature.
So I just got an update that Celtics GM Danny Ainge had a heart attack in Milwaukee.
Wow.
So
prayers up to Danny Ainge. He pulled out probably one of the best trades ever with the Brooklyn Nets. This was going back a couple years ago now. It was Kevin Garnett, Jason Terry, and Ray Allen. Or no, it wasn't Ray Allen. Paul Pierce going to the Brooklyn Nets for 4 future first-round picks.
That turned out to be what? Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum.
They traded away the other one for Kyrie Irving.
Right.
And I think there's another one. I don't know, but it was a ridiculous trade. But that's very, very sad news. Prayers up to Danny Ainge. But James Butler, or Jimmy Butler, did you see that?
Yeah.
Quite funny. We knew he was going to be a factor going into the series. Because I don't think Raptor fans realizes how good this player really is.
No, and I mean, guys like Tobias Harris, look, Kawhi Leonard can guard him face up, no problem.
Yeah, obviously.
Joel Embiid, clearly we've seen, at least in the first 2 games, that Marc Gasol's done a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. Danny Green's done an all right job on J.J. Redick, and obviously Lowry mixed with Kawhi has done a pretty bang-up job there on Ben Simmons. But Jimmy Butler has been the one guy. And
Pascal's on Jimmy?
I think that's how it works.
Yeah.
I mean, ideally switches happen and everything. But
But
he fired up 30 and 11, and there were a lot of questions after the game with the officiating, with him kicking his leg out. And, and I mean, they're big plays, you know.
Well, I watched your video and you were fired up.
He took a three and he kicked his leg way out, and Danny Green lands. And Danny, I wouldn't say Jimmy kicked him, but it was like his leg kind of went out. And yes, in your landing spot, straight up and down, you're allowed. You can't put your foot underneath him, and that's understandable. Yeah. But when you're way in front of the guy and he kicks his leg out and then drops and then pushes off and then gets the and one plus the three, it's a 4-point play.
Yeah,
he misses that shot or it's an offensive foul, they get nothing. I mean, it's a big play in the ball game.
Yeah, especially for a playoff game, and the refs have to be a little bit more lenient with the fouls, in my opinion, and. The play of Pascal Siakam.
By the way, sorry, the free throws were 26-15 in favor of Philly.
26-15, yeah, that's not good. But who knows? Some of those may be actual fouls.
Well, of course they were. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it's something to go off by. But anyways, so Pascal Siakam's defense is average. It's not great, but it's not bad.
He'll get there. He'll get
right.
there.
Well, I'm just saying. But the play of Jimmy Butler makes Pascal Siakam's defense look terrible.
Yeah,
they're right. Simple as that. And for a guy like Pascal, he can learn defense from playing with Jimmy Butler.
Oh, yeah.
Or against Jimmy Butler, for sure. So Pascal's either going to thrive or crack. And I just, hopefully, this game he cracked. He cracked in game 2.
Yeah.
And I just hope that he doesn't crack in game 3, because this is a big test for Pascal.
Now, ideally, that shot that I was talking about, Danny Green was one defending him. So
I'm just saying
I know what you're
during the
talking
game,
about.
right? I'm not talking about that shot.
Right,
but
right.
Pascal needs to thrive under guarding probably one of the best top 15 players in the league.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
And, I mean, look, this is a big game here tonight. I mean, obviously, you can get your home court back.
Huge.
Get home court back, puts some doubt in Philly's mind, because they would have just lost their first game at home in the playoffs.
Because if you win this game, you're up 2-1. Sure, you got one more game in Philly, but I'm not saying you
have home court back.
I'm not saying you can afford to lose game 4 if you're up 2-1, but you can kind of, if you do lose, it's not that big of a deal because you're tied 2-2 going back home and you're probably going to win that game. But if you go down 2-1 and you're still in Philly, you have to win that game. You cannot go home 3-1 trailing the 76ers going back home. It's not good at all. So the Raptors, this is a must-win game.
I wouldn't say it's a must-win, but it's a big one. It could change the complexity of the series.
Yes,
big time.
Yes, for sure. So I don't know. Usually I would have a prediction, but I have no idea.
I don't know either, man. We've seen. I mean, you've seen in game 1, the Raptors' offense and defense is great, and Kawhi's a freak, and they get the job done.
Yeah. And
then in game 2, it's the complete opposite. Your defense is great, but your offense stinks. So it's like, I don't know what the heck we're going to see here in game 3. I really have no idea. If Jimmy Buckets is doing what he did in game 2, might be a problem.
Would you switch him off, Pascal?
Well, again, I don't know if he's
Danny
guarding
Green?
him. Oh. You want Kawhi guarding their best player. So I think if you can tell if he can tell Jimmy's going early on,
put Kawhi on him, and then Kawhi's gonna shut him down because Kawhi can shut down pretty much any player in the league, 100%.
Yep.
So I guess we can go around the league now. And there's been a couple of, not upsets, but surprises.
So first things first, Milwaukee and Boston are a 1-1 series. Both games were blowouts in Milwaukee. Boston crushed them in game 1, 112-90. And then game 2 was 123-102 for Milwaukee. So it's a 1-1 series going back to Boston.
Right. And I did say Boston in 7, and that's probably one of the hottest takes in the season for me. But
actually, of the season, the New York Knicks making the playoffs.
I said one of the.
Yeah. That was your hottest take.
I don't think people are giving Boston a fighting chance in this series. People are saying before game 1 even happened, Milwaukee in 4, Milwaukee in 5, But I think the Boston Celtics are a damn good team. I know they're facing the top dog Bucks, but I go back to playoff experience, and I go back to Giannis. I don't think he even won a playoff series before this year.
No.
So that's one thing. It's like when the Boston Celtics faced the 76ers last year. The 76ers weren't really experience playoff-wise. I mean, I think Boston took them to 7 or 6, but Boston did win. You can argue that the 76ers were a better team on paper, maybe, but the experience of Boston overthrew the 76ers, and I think that's going to happen in this series.
Well, I mean, look at game 1, and obviously the offense was not good for Milwaukee. Only shot 35%, and was not really very good. But then you go to game 2, and the tide completely changed. They shoot 44%. They shoot 44. They knocked down 23s, and Giannis had double 29 and 10. But then you go to the whole Kyrie Irving factor, and Kyrie is that team. Period. End quote. If he's not going, that team is not going.
Gordon Hayward isn't going.
You look at game 1, right? You look at game 1 where they crushed them, right? Kyrie had a double-double, 26 and 11. Beautiful job there. Game 2, he only had 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists on 4 of 18 shooting. He wasn't good. The rest of the team wasn't good, and they get crushed by 21.
Well, if you go back to game 1, same thing for the Bucks. Giannis wasn't.
Well, he saw 22 and 8.
Yes, but for Giannis, you look about over close to 30 points a game for him. But the Bucks, if Giannis isn't producing, you still have such a better supporting cast than the Boston Celtics. You have Chris Middleton. You have who else is on that team? I can't even think.
Eric Bledsoe. Brook Lopez has turned into a 3-point shooter.
Brook Lopez. And then the guy, Mirotic. So you have those players, but I think these teams are built very similarly. Right?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say they are.
Yeah.
But look, I still personally think Milwaukee's going to come away with it, not just because they have home court advantage, just because they have the best player in the series.
So you're still sticking with, but even you were a bit surprised that Boston won game 1. I kind of was, to be honest.
I'm not surprised they won game 1. I'm surprised how big of a margin it was.
Yeah, so I'm still rolling with Boston in 7. You said Milwaukee in 6, I think you did say.
I don't know if I said 6 or 7.
I don't know, whatever. So what are you saying now?
I still say Milwaukee in 7. That's my personal thought. Yeah.
Okay, so they're going to win in Milwaukee. Hopefully, that happens.
We go to the Western Conference here, and the Golden State Warriors are up 2-0 on the Houston Rockets. Both wins at home for Golden State. Now, they were tight games.
I'm not surprised. I just want to see Golden State out of it. I did pick the Houston Rockets in 7, but this team lives and dies on James Harden. If James Harden, he can perform all he wants, but other than that, yes, Chris Paul's been good. Eric Gordon, Clint Capella, really? Compared to the stars of the Golden State Warriors, ugh.
Like Eric Gordon had 27 points in game 1, but Clint Capella had 4, and he only took 2 shots.
You can argue that Kevin Durant and James Harden equal each other out. I think that's, you can either say he's better, but they're pretty much even. Okay, Steph Curry. Who's Steph Curry on the Houston Rockets? Nobody. Exactly. So I really want Houston to finally win against the Golden State Warriors.
It won't. I'm sorry.
Well, you said Golden State in 6. I'm still sticking with Houston. I can't change it now. Houston in 7, but it's not looking great. The only good part is that they're going back home, I guess. I don't know.
Golden State won game 1, 104-100, and game 2, 115-109. So you combine the 2 losses, and they're only by 10 points.
Yeah, they're tight. Yeah, they are tight, and Houston's going back home, so you could see a 2-2 series tie going back to Golden State. Hopefully, but it's going to be a dogfight.
And then you go to the other matchup there in the Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets versus the Portland Trail Blazers. Game 1, Denver won by 8, 121-113. And then game 2 was a defense. And you look at it, it was off offense, right? 121-113, a big score. Game 2, 97-90.
Well, that's how playoff games should be played, in my opinion. Defense. I still got the Portland Trail Blazers. I think Lillard is playing unbelievable, but Jokic, or is it Jokic? Yeah. Jokic and Murray, man, those two together are dynamite. But I still think Portland is going to win. It's going to be a tight one.
Now, they did get a split. Now they're going back home. Is Portland?
They're going back to Portland.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I just think that I go back to the playoff experience, and I just go back to the leader, and I think that Damian Lillard is going to lead this team past. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy time for the Portland Trailblazers, but I think that they are going to get past Denver.
I think I said Denver in 7. I think I'm going to stick with that. Just because
I'm going to say Portland in 6.
Just because they don't, the Portland Trailblazers do not have a guy to handle Nikola Jokic in that last win for in game 1 for Denver.
Cantor's not. not
right,
bad
but
defensively.
in game one, Nikolic had 37 points. Jokic had 37 points, 9 rebounds, and 6 assists on 11 of 18.
Yeah.
They can't guard him. However, in game two, ideally, it was a very, very tight game on both ends of the ball.
Yeah.
Jokic had 16 and 14 and 7. That's still pretty damn good.
Yeah.
They don't have a guy to guard Nikola Jokic.
I did say Cancer. He's okay defensively, but I do agree with you, and I think it's just the passing. I think it's
he's a great passer.
He's
for
a
big
great
man.
passer too. So if everyone's draped on Jokic, just passes the ball to either Murray or any of the other guys there.
Millsap.
Beasley, I think's there.
Malik Beasley.
He's a good player. They got another guy.
Gary
I forgot
Harris?
his name. Yup, Harris. Well, no, actually, he's
Barton?
injured, isn't he? Isn't Harris?
No, he's right there.
I know there was an injury in game 2. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure.
it was what's his face? Torrey Craig. He broke his nose and then came back
it's a nose,
with the face mask on.
A broken nose isn't a. Here's me talking about broken nose not being a bad thing, but you can still play with a broken nose. Like it's not the end of the
How'd you
world.
get hit in the nose after that?
Ugh, man.
Right?
Well, a broken nose does hurt.
Of course it does.
I heard it.
You break
yeah,
anything,
but like it stings and all that. But I mean, like you could still play with it. But yeah, that would suck. Well, I guess that's why you have to have the cage around your face.
But even then, you still get hit in the face like a jock strap. Yeah, you get hit in the cup. It doesn't take away the pain.
It just reduces the pain.
It just pushes the cup into you, which doesn't make it any better.
No.
I mean, it obviously does make it better, but still.
I guess from prior experience.
Oh, yes. Yes, not very fun. Getting a hockey puck right there. Whew, not fun.
Yeah. So I guess we can go around the league here. I was gonna say something. I had this planned for the podcast too. I should have wrote it down. Well, while I think of what I forgot to say, do you have anything you want to say?
I mean, there's not much else to go with when it comes to basketball. We've already broken down the series and whatnot. I mean, I'm not sure what else.
Right. So this is what I was going to say. Now, this was a podcast question, but let's just get into it now.
Sure.
Reports say that Masai Ujiri is intrigued about the Washington Wizards. Do you know what source that came from? The Washington Post or some Washington sports site. So don't look into it at all. It's nothing to worry about. Masai Ujiri, why the heck would he go to the Washington Wizards? They're in a mess. John Wall's coming back from surgery. Bradley Beal.
John Wall might not even be playing next year.
Really?
I mean, it's bad.
Wow.
Well,
maybe at the start of the season.
At least to start the year. At least.
Holy wow. But
Bradley Beal won't want to be there much longer.
But why would he go there? Right? So it was from a Washington News Post. Don't even look into it. Again, it was a podcast question, but yeah. So I think that it's just I wouldn't look into it all, but yeah. So moving on to the Blue Jays now. And the Toronto Blue Jays, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. made his debut against the Oakland Athletics. So, and he looked great in my opinion. But, I mean, obviously with this player, you have to realize that he's going to struggle at points, but it's great to see something good happen to the Toronto Blue Jays. And if I'm not mistaken, in our last 10, I know we were 7-3. I think we're 6-4 now, but still. The Toronto Blue Jays, this is the Austin Matthews of the Toronto Blue Jays. This is the, I would say Kawhi Leonard, but if Kawhi Leonard was a prospect, it would be this. This guy's unreal. This guy's unbelievable. So, I mean, James, what was your about Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s? Because we didn't talk about this at all against the Oakland Athletics. Yeah. It was a 4-gamer or a 3-gamer?
3-gamer.
3-gamer.
And the funny thing is, you said 6-4 in the last 10 games. All 6 wins are against Oakland. They swept them in Oakland. They swept them here.
So I think we're 6-4 now in their last 10?
Yeah. You lost both against Kevin Pillar's Giants, and you've lost the first 2 games of this series against the Angels.
And last game looked terrible.
Yep, they looked horrendous in that game.
But you're going to have a stinker once in a while. And with this team, once in a while is pretty good to having a stinker, not every game.
Like they're 14-16. I mean, is that bad?
So, Vladdy's debut, how was it?
I mean, I think he took a lot of pitch. I think he was like very selective up at the plate. He defensively, I got to say, through the first little while with Vladdy, the defense has been the good thing. He's been very good defensively. The question coming up was, well, we know he can hit. What can he do defensively? It's been the total opposite right now. He has not hit the ball well, but defensively, he's looked pretty solid.
Yeah. And that's pretty good. I mean, that's not what we expected whatsoever.
But in game one, he hit that double down the line to start off the ninth inning. Then Brandon Drury walks it off. I mean, it's just perfect. Unless
but other than that, you would like to see a bit more hitting. But it's a young guy and surprised defensively. And going into this debut, I would think the total opposite. I think we all would.
Yeah, we're all ready to see him hit. And I think in his debut, I think he went 1 for 4 with that double down the line. But he also hit 2 balls to the warning track. So, I mean,
he's there. He's coming around, folks. Just give him, honestly, maybe another month. He's definitely staying. He's not He's not going down to AAA or the AA. He's staying with the Blue Jays. Give him another month.
He won't go down to AA. You'll never see that unless it's a rehab.
Okay, but I'm just saying he's staying up with the Blue Jays, and Jays fans, give him a month. I guarantee you, give him a month, and he's going to be hitting dingers all over the place.
Yeah.
He has to find his form, just like anything, just like any transitional type. Well, other than Austin Matthews scoring 4 goals in his rookie season there,
in his debut,
but any player jumping from AAA to the major league is a big deal, especially if you're 19, 20.
Yep.
So be patient, but man, damn, we have a good player. We got a good player.
He's going to be very, very good. He's struggling right now. I think he's hitting under 200.
But we expect that. We expected that in spring training. We expected him to struggle. I wanted him to struggle in spring training. Now, he's struggling. Everyone's seeing his flaws, and he has to work on those flaws, and he is going to. Practice makes perfect, and he's going to get better. Now, he has the tools.
For a guy who struck out more than he has walked in his minor league career, he has 6 strikeouts in his first 5 games. He's got 3 hits and 18 at-bats. He's only hitting 167. I mean, he's not hitting the ball very well.
How old is he?
He's only 20 years old.
There you go.
I mean, I think he just turned 20 as well in March. So,
how much? 250. Oh.
Yeah, he's a big fella. He's a big kid. I mean, but the fact that he moves pretty good there at third base, so that's why I'm like, well, I mean, you don't need to move him, so why bother?
No, yeah, exactly.
Do you want to get to the report that came out a couple days ago, actually from Ken Rosenthal, saying that
yes, I know what you were just going to say.
Toronto Blue Jays they're trying to move, maybe they're looking to move. They're very different words, and they mean a lot different things. So I'm not 100% sure what Ken Rosenthal was saying, but nonetheless, the talk about moving Smoke, Sanchez, and Marcus Stroman.
Well, right now, all 3 players are doing well, so to speak.
Smoke is the only guy I can see the Jays actually moving out of the 3, but that's my opinion on that.
Personally, and me and you talked about this on the phone yesterday, I think that out of the 3 players, you got to trade at least one of the pitchers. I don't think you should trade 2 because pitching's hard to come by.
You don't need to.
Exactly. Pitching's hard to come by, and I think you would either need to trade Stroman or Sanchez. Doesn't matter who, just don't get rid of both of them and Smoke, like you said.
You don't need to trade Stroman or Sanchez. You need 5 pitchers, right?
I know, but if you were going to trade them, it would be nice to keep one in your starting rotation and then get a pretty good blue chip prospect for Sanchez that you can keep. But they're not old, and I'm a little surprised about this. I'm not going to lie. We thought that at the start of the season, if they were performing well, why not keep them? I still agree with that. But then again, if they're performing well, their value goes up, and then you can get a lot more for them rather than trading them last year where they sucked.
Now, the reason their value is where it is because they have another year of arbitration and then free agency. So it's basically like a year and a half if you were to trade them at the deadline. But if you're the Blue Jays, you look at this, and Marcus Stroman is only 28 years old. Sanchez is only 26, 27 years old. They're not very old pitchers.
No, they're not.
And the Blue Jays are not in full-on rebuild. I mean, you could look at the roster right now and say maybe they are, but
next year,
look at look at the guys playing right now: Rowdy Tellez, Teoscar Hernandez, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Look at Biggio, Bichette, or right at ideally Bo Bichette, obviously with the injury, but they're right in AAA, ready to go. This Jays team, I know we're talking about rebuild, but the guys are almost here.
And plus,
it's not like you're waiting 4 or 5 years.
You can argue next year we will be in contention for a playoff spot.
It wouldn't surprise me.
But listen, if the Jays get an offer where you can't refuse, obviously you have to trade them, and that may happen.
Now I talked to you about this yesterday. Look, if the Jays get an offer like the Tampa Bay Rays got for Chris Archer, take it. You got Austin Meadows, who's hitting over 350. He's crushing home runs. He's a great outfielder. The guy's like 22 years old. Fantastic player. You got Tyler Glasnow, big right-handed pitcher, 25 years old. Great pitcher. Get two amazing players for one. You know?
Would you want to do this in the next couple of weeks or so?
It depending on the offer.
Well, yeah,
really.
that or like let's just say that. Well, yeah, true. But would you rather do this in the next couple of weeks or when trade deadline hits? Because I think trade deadline, a lot of teams are more desperate, and a lot of teams will fork out more prospects or picks or whatnot for these guys that they desperately want for a long playoff run. Because if a playoff team is picking these guys up, it's either going to be one of two options: one for depth, or two for an injury.
Now, the thing that I'm thinking about, right? Like we talked about, these guys are not old, so
they're not old.
You don't need to move them.
I know, but it seems like the Jays want to move them. That's why we're talking about moving them.
My personal feeling is that you lock these guys. Not right now. I'm not saying I'm locking them up right now. I'm saying if you don't trade these guys at the trade deadline, if you don't get an offer that you can't refuse, and if you don't get an offer you can't refuse, as the offseason kind of gets going, re-sign the guys.
But
unless guys are getting injured, unless Sanchez blows his arm out in the next few weeks and then he's done for the year, or Stroman only pitches 100 innings, then you move them.
But James, it doesn't look like that's the case. That's why we're talking about
Right.
trading them.
So you re-sign them then. They're damn good pitchers. You need 5 in a rotation.
But no, that's why we're talking about trading them, because it looks like the Jays are going to trade them.
No, we heard this. We heard the same mumbo jumbo in the offseason. Never amounted to squat.
Well, okay. Percentage-wise, out of the 3, I think 2 are going to be gone. I don't think all 3. Again, one pitcher. I can't see both pitchers being gone. One pitcher and Smoke. I think that those 2 are going to be gone, whether it be Stroman or Sanchez.
I personally believe it's just going to be. I think it's just going to be Justin Smoke.
Well, I hope it's just Justin Smoke. I don't want them to trade Stroman or Sanchez, but it looks like they're seeing if they can. They're just exploring the options. And if you're the Jays right now, I mean, you have to look at it both ways. Like you say, you have 2 young pitchers that are doing okay this season. Lock them up because pitching is hard to come by. Or maybe the Jays are getting rid of these guys so they can go off after someone big in free agency this upcoming season for pitching wise.
They're not in. The Jays are in no state.
Maybe
to do that.
you can trade one of these guys and then sign Dallas Keuchel.
Why would you do that? Keuchel's older than these guys.
No, but I'm just saying you're getting these guys. You're getting prospects for these guys that who knows if they're going to come back after this season, and then you're getting a Dallas Keuchel who can still produce up to the same expectations of Stroman and Sanchez. I'm just saying it's asset management, and that's what the Jays are doing quite well now, trading away Donaldson for something, trading away Osuna for something.
They screwed up that whole Donaldson. I mean, ideally, it was kind of like a hit or miss type of thing with Donaldson, and they clearly missed it.
Well, no, I'm just talking about they got something for a guy that was always injured, and they just didn't let him. Like, you got something for him, and I think that right now it's asset management, and that's what the Jays have to do, right? So,
but if you trade one, if not both of those guys, who the hell is your 5-man rotation?
Well, then. That's what I'm saying.
You have Clay Buchholz right now and Trent Thornton. Those are the only 2 guys you got right now. He's injured. He hasn't pitched this year. So
I don't know. I just think that there are free agents out there. Maybe, like you say, the Jays can sign a free agent. But it is quite shocking because I didn't think they would do this.
I personally don't believe that Sanchez or Stroman will be moved. I personally believe that if they continue to pitch well, they'll be locked up.
Well, only time will tell. And hopefully I don't want those guys to be gone because we've seen this season. They've looked okay, like I mentioned before, but who knows? Really good. Right. But it's only a small sample size. It's only, a month into the season?
Yeah.
So, there you go. But it is a little shocking.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no question about it. Now, I want to bring up a guy like Brandon Drury. Now, he was a guy that earlier in the season was having a horrendous time. Could not play, could not hit, could not do anything.
He was injured last year, wasn't he? A little bit?
Yeah, he was one that got traded in the J-Happ trade to Toronto. He had a broken hand while he got traded over. He was struggling really, really hard. Then he went to play Oakland, and as the Jays did quite often against the Oakland A's, he crushes them. He's now hitting .212 on the year. He's got 5 home runs. He's got 5 doubles. Now, I did not realize Brandon Drury has 40 strikeouts in 27 games. That is awful. But
so do you want to take back what you just said?
I mean, he's hitting better, but that's still a large number, and the Jays strike out a ton. That's what this team does. They chase the curveball, and you look at yesterday's game against the Angels. Every time they threw a damn curveball, and it wasn't even close to the strike zone, they're swinging at it. They look awful. But, it's what a young team does, right? They struggle early on.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, because it takes experience for, like you said, the Jays not to strike out on curveballs or whatever. But like you say, it just takes experience, and they will get there, folks. They will get there, but this is the transition year. Like you said before, this isn't a rebuilding team per se. We're in the rebuild. We're in the middle of the rebuild, and next season we're going to be finishing up the rebuild. Next season, we could possibly be in a wild card spot. Or contend, at least contend. Yeah. Right now we are contending, but it's not going to last.
Right.
It's not going to last. Like, I'm sorry. I love my Blue Jays, but chances are, didn't we see, wasn't there a time last season, early on in the season, where we were just amazing?
All April. They were like 17-9 or whatever in the month of April, and we're like, wow, this team is incredible. And then they hit a brick wall, and they was terrible the rest of the way.
But see, last season it was different because we still had these older guys that could, maybe, who knows, if Troy Tulowitzki can smarten up a little bit, and then Josh Donaldson, whatever, we can possibly be in a playoff spot. Like, no. We know that if the Blue Jays, like you say, are on a roll, these are young guys, they're going to falter. But that's just normal.
Yeah,
that's just normal. So, there you go. Is there anything else you want to, you want to get into the prospects? Because I saw.
Well, do you want to do around the league a little bit here? And
I thought you had something ready for me, or was that?
Yeah, we'll do that afterwards.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Baltimore Orioles are back into the normal spot, 11-21 at the bottom of the AL East.
The Boston Red Sox have come to form a little bit, but they're still struggling.
They've won 3 in a row. They're right behind the Blue Jays, and I expect them to pass us at some point in time. But you look at the other conferences and the other divisions, and the Minnesota Twins are leading the way in the AL Central, and the Cleveland Indians, a team that everyone still expected to take over that division, is 2.5 back. Now, ideally, it's so early into the year, you can't really get a gist on that. But look, there's really
surprises of the AL East.
No, and you look at the Phillies are first place in the National League East. I mean, you kind of expected that with the offseason moves they made.
With Bryce.
Yeah, with Bryce Harper, obviously, and the Nationals are terrible. And the Marlins are 9-21. That's awful.
I wouldn't think that the Marlins would be that bad still.
And the thing that shocks me is the Milwaukee Brewers, the really good Milwaukee Brewers, the team that went to the World Series. No. Sorry, they were in the semifinals.
NLCS.
Yeah. The NLCS last year. They're only 17-15 to start the year. They lost with their last game, and they're not playing the greatest. And Manny Machado's San Diego Padres, can't believe I just said that, are 17-14.
Hey, that's better than expected.
Yeah, really no surprises though around the league so far.
Standings
so far this year. But like you said, I wanted to get to the prospects here because when the Jays are not playing well, you got to find positives. Yeah. You got to look at positives. You got to find the minor league system. You got to say, okay, well, who's doing well for us? Cavan Biggio is amazing,
and we talked about him on multiple podcasts and probably videos of yours too.
Yep.
Yeah, but this guy came from nothing to something.
He was a 5th-round pick by the Jays in 2016.
How old is he?
He's 24 years old now, so he's one of the older of the prospects.
So he's in AAA.
He's in AAA now, and he's torching it. He's hitting .361 on base percentage of all.
So he's at that age where you could see him come up to the Jays because, like you said, sure, he's torching it, but he's kind of I wouldn't say an overager, but he's at that age where, what are you kind of thing?
I mean, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I would put him in that category. Look, he probably got drafted at 21, 22 years old.
Right, so this is his 3rd year with the organization. Right,
so it's not, I wouldn't say it's that.
So, I mean, are you looking at him maybe possibly being called up? If there's a lot of injuries, maybe. See,
I would like to see him come up here, but then you think about, he's only played, 23 games this year, and he played AA last year.
And I got a bad feeling that when he does come up, it's not going to look pretty. But what youngster is going to torch up the league when he first comes up, right? So
he's hitting .361 with an on-base percentage of .495. Just a shade under half of his at-bats he's gotten on base. He has walked more than he struck out. 20 times he's walked, only 16 times he strikes out in 23 games. He's got 5 home runs, 15 RBIs. He's crushing the baseball. He's been an incredible player for the Buffalo Bisons. And yesterday he was 1 for 1 with a couple walks, and he hit a home run. So this kid,
I wonder what because Vladdy was number 1 prospect-wise in the league. I wonder what he is. Is it every year they do it?
Yeah, every year they do it. Sometimes mid-season they update it kind of thing. It's before the season starts.
So when Vladdy was number 1, where was he?
I don't know where Cavan Biggio was. I know in the Blue Jays organization he's, let me just find it here.
He used to be top 3.
Yeah, the Blue Jays top. He is 9th. But the way he's playing...
But like you said, that wasn't even updated.
Right, that wasn't updated. So, I mean, this kid is putting some big season together. Now, I just want to continue to see him, crush down there in AAA. And I don't know. He could be a September call-up this year.
Hopefully.
That's what I kind of see for
Cam,
Biggio.
Bichette.
You give him like 100
yeah.
games or maybe 115 games there in AAA, and he's still hitting over 300, and he's still playing really well. Give him the call in September. Same, I think, with Bo Bichette as well, even though he'll be back in
He's still
June.
injured.
Didn't require surgery, so that's obviously a good sign. So 4 to 6 weeks is his recovery time there. But as for Kevin Biggio, he's playing incredible down there in AAA.
Don't rush him. Keep him down there. And like you said, September call-ups, because this is his second season with AAA.
No, this is his first year.
This is his first
He's
year.
only played 23 games.
Right.
That's why I'm like, there's no need to rush the kid now.
True. I thought that this was the second year. Yeah, so keep him down there, and then when September, I don't even know if he's still crushing it, then September call-ups, bring him up. But if he's struggling a little bit in AAA, keep him down.
And now let's go to Nate Pearson, the guy that everyone's been harping about, the 6'6", 245-pound right-handed pitcher in the Blue Jays system. Obviously, last year he got the line drive off the arm. Didn't play barely at all last season. Played in fall ball. Did a great job there.
Fall ball.
And this season to start the year, he's a freak of nature.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy, he's only in high A ball, just a shade under Dunedin. He's 22 years old already. But with this kid, he'll be going to Dunedin very fast. If he continues to play the way he's pitching right now, it won't take long. He's 3-0 there down in Dunedin. He has an ERA of under 1 as a starter.
So this is what, in like
0.
single A?
It's like
much?
high A. So Lansing is A ball, then you have Dunedin, then New Hampshire, Buffalo.
Right,
Blue
so
Jays.
this is in the middle of Dunedin and Lansing, I guess?
This is Dunedin. He's in Dunedin.
Okay.
One level lower than AA New Hampshire.
Right. So
he's 3-0 with a 0.86 ERA. That is stupid.
Yeah.
Those are stupid numbers.
How old is he?
He's 22 years old, and he throws 100 as a starter. So, incredible there.
So maybe bring him up to AAA if he keeps on.
I think you move him to AA very soon.
Yeah.
But, again, he's only played,
3 games?
6. He's had 6 starts.
6 starts.
I think you give him at least 15 starts, and then you move him to AA. But that's
if they
my
want to do
opinion
that,
on that.
yeah.
He's thrown 21 innings. In 21 innings, he's only given up 10 hits. 2 runs in 21 innings.
Mind you, this is a small sample
size.
Right,
but 3 walks in 21 innings. He gave up what? Did he give up a couple home runs? He had 2 home runs in 21 innings. And this is the thing I love to see here. 21 innings, 35 strikeouts.
So maybe the Jays organization's really looking at this kid, and they're like, maybe we can afford to lose Stroman and, well, not lose, but trade Stroman and Sanchez.
I mean, he's doing it at high A ball. I don't know
like you're banking on a lot on this kid, but maybe that's what they're thinking, right?
I don't think so, but
well,
I mean, you never really know. But seeing this kid to perform the way he is, it's incredible to see. And the last guy I want to get to is Jordan Groshans, the shortstop that we drafted last year.
Okay.
And last year where is he here? In the in Bluefield in the Gulf Coast League, like obviously very, very low in the system. Where was that? 2018. That's what I want. Anyways, in his 2018 numbers, he hit 330. He's a great hitter. This year's his first year with Lansing in A-ball, and he's hitting 342. He's doing very, very well down there. On base percentage of 429. He's doing really, really well. And the thing I love about that, he's crushing A-ball. He's 19 years old.
So
great looking young player.
That's
great,
good.
and he looks like a ball player too. Look at him.
Beauty.
19 years old, and he's playing incredible. So it's going to be exciting to watch this kid develop.
Shortstop, nice.
Another infielder.
Another
infielder. The
great.
Jays, so this year for the draft for the Jays, I think they really need to look at pitching and outfielders.
So how many rounds are in the draft again?
There's a lot. There's like 30-something odd. I think Rowdy Tellez was like a 30-something odd round pick.
Rowdy Tellez, yeah. So, I mean, who knows, right? But like you said, the Jays just have to keep with the process. I know, but it's coming, Jays fan. It's coming. So
one player at a time. That's all we can do.
Yep. And speaking of one player at a time, let's get into the Leafs. I mean, really, there's not much to talk about. Their second podcast after they got eliminated, and the reason I brought up the one player is because Kyle Dubas had, of course, there was locker clean out, everything. Everybody was there, reporters were there, and all that. But I think that, well, I don't think that, but I've heard, or we've all heard, that Kyle Dubas wants to get Mitch Marner's contract done before July 1st. Now, I mean, good luck with that. There could be a possibility where he would get offer sheeted. Yeah. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And I thought of this. The other day. If someone offer sheets Mitch Marner
They won't, but okay.
I'm just,
I know.
hey, dude, it could happen.
Yep.
It could happen.
Yep.
If someone offer sheets Mitch Marner and the Leafs say, Mitch, you can either win with us and make something special, or you can go to a shitty team that has a lot of cap room and you're going to get a lot more money, but the team's going to be shit. What do you want to do? And if Mitch says, I want to make my money, the Leafs are going to be like, okay.
How many first-round picks? Is it
That's what I'm saying.
First-round picks?
I think it's 4 first-round picks and I think a player. So let's just say that, I don't know, the Columbus Blue Jackets acquire him. Let's just say that. Let's just say Mitch Marner goes to the Columbus Blue Jackets for 4 future first-round picks and Panarin.
That's a pretty damn good
Yeah,
thing
exactly.
for the Leafs.
So I know.
Would you have to pay Panarin as much as you would Mitch Marner?
I don't think so.
There you go.
Yeah, and then we get 4 future first-round picks that are protected. So if they fall into the lottery, we still get them. Hello.
Yeah,
That's
honestly.
good. So I know we all love Mitch Marner, and I know he drives the play, and he's probably one of, if not the best player on the Leafs. But he can't expect to get Matthews' money or Tavares' money.
No.
Listen, Matthews and Tavares are both centers, and they both score a lot more goals than Mitch Marner. So and Mitch Marner's a winger.
And you got to realize that, Mitch Marner isn't anything without his other guys, right? And with John Tavares making the big money and
well, I wouldn't say that.
well, look,
No. Yeah, Mitch Marner's rookie season, I get he was playing, I don't even know who he was playing with. Kadri and, was it Marlowe? I don't know. But
it was JVR and Bozak.
Right, and he's still Mitch Marner. It doesn't matter if he's playing with Tavares. You throw him on any team in the league, he's going to perform by himself, right? But it helps if he's with Tavares.
And by the way, Mitch Marner, as you already know, is not going to the World Championships
I did not know that.
Because of the contract negotiations.
I think it's going to get done, but there is a possibility, like anything, that some team's going to offer sheet him and Mitch just want to go in for the money. All right, later. And then the Leafs acquire 3 or 4 first-round picks and a blue chip or an established NHL player. Yeah. And I think we're a bit too attached to Mitch Marner. Listen, we're going to offer him, and we're going to be like, Mitch, this is the best we can do with the team we have now. And then if you want to take it, great. If you don't, see ya.
Yep.
That's just the business.
I just, look, you personally think of Mitchell Marner's situation, and, I mean, ideally he'll want to stay in Toronto, and plus he's been making a pretty damn good amount of money as well.
From endorsements and from commercials, too.
In Toronto, you have more of that.
I mean, in the States, you have the U.S. dollar, which is quite a bit more than our Canadian dollar.
But if I don't know. I think for money, I don't think Mitch Marner is like that type of guy. Obviously, a homegrown kid. He's clearly a Toronto
and his
fan.
Agent. I think
in the end, Mitch Marner has a say.
Yes, he does a say, and it's up to him. But I think his parents are really gonna make this tough, and his agent too.
Well, we're gonna have to wait and see how Kyle Dubas. Hey, Kyle Dubas, a couple years ago, or was it just the last offseason? Anyways, when they signed John Tavares, he was asked, Kyle, you gonna be able to sign Matthews, Marner, and Nylander there, bud? And he said, and you know the quote,
"We can and we will."
There you go.
And listen, you got 2 down out of the 3. You got 1 more to go. Probably the most biggest. Well, I wouldn't say the biggest.
Matthews is probably the biggest one,
right? But more of the most complicated situation.
Yeah, because Nylander's are pretty damn complicated.
Right, but it didn't have to be complicated. You could have offered this contract in training camp, and he probably would have accepted. Who knows?
Well, maybe they did. I don't know. We don't know what happened, honestly.
I don't know, but if it takes a Mitch Marner contract to be $10.5 to $10 million, that's fine.
I see that.
I would like to be it in the range of 9.5 to just less than 11, because Tavares is making 11. Sure, yeah. Tavares took a discount, quote unquote, but that's a pretty fair price for John Tavares.
It's a pretty high amount, yeah.
And for Mitch Marner, he has to realize that we're building something special here, Mitch. If you want to make your money, okay, if Mitch Marner was a free agent on the market tomorrow, he would be making McDavid money, 100%.
Probably. Oh, yeah.
So if you want to stay with the team, look what Tampa's doing. Look what Kucherov did. Look what Stamkos did. Kucherov signed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. Kucherov, 9.5. Hedman,
did he sign for a big deal, did Hedman?
I don't know. But I know that Kucherov signed for way less than he deserved, and then Stamkos did too, right? I do agree with you. Mitch Marner's going to stay, but there's a possibility.
Yeah, I do agree with that. Look, with Mitch Marner, I see him signing before this whole offer sheet fiasco gets going. Yeah. That's just what I personally believe with all this stuff. I mean, if it doesn't and it gets into a situation like that, then buckle up because it might be a rough ride.
It's going to really ride, but the Leafs are going to acquire so many assets for this player if it were to come down to that. Yeah. That's why I'm not worried whatsoever. So the press conference release of Mike Babcock, Kyle Dubas, and all the players there, it was out. Yep. I watched it a little bit. I don't know if you watched it. But what was concerning about both interviews or about with Mike Babcock's interview was that he took no fault whatsoever. If he had the chance to redo Game 7, he would have played the same players the exact same way, it seems like. Yeah. He would have played an injured Zach Hyman 20 minutes a night. He would be playing Matthews 18 minutes that game. He would be overusing Ron Hainsey. He would be sending out Freddie Gauthier against Patrice Bergeron in the faceoff dot.
Yeah. No, I get you. I mean, I think you and I have talked about it. And I think we have that 1 year of Mike Babcock left if things don't go the way we hope.
So you do agree with that?
Yeah, I do agree with you in that sense. But I know Leaf fans are like, and everyone is talking about the whole, Matthews playing 18 minutes and whatnot. Look, in the 18 minutes that he did play, he didn't do a whole lot.
No, but you would want him to play more minute than 18 minutes. I don't care if he didn't do anything in the 18 minutes. Play him more. He's Austin Matthews. He's going to give you points. He's going to give you goals.
I know, but really, what's another 2 minutes going to do? I mean, yeah, it could decide
It's better than giving Zach Hyman 2 more minutes.
Well, Zach Hyman ideally is the grindy type of player. In the Leafs period, we're not doing any of that game.
No, but he was hurt. Like, that's the thing. He's hurt. And when you need a goal, you throw out Zach Hyman or Austin Matthews. It's not rocket science.
Speaking of being hurt, would not surprise me if Jake Gardiner and Travis Dermott were still injured.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think Jake Gardiner was definitely injured. Definitely playing injured. I mean, Travis Dermott, I don't know. He could have, but Jake Gardiner, 100%. And he was a little bit emotional in his presser, locker cleanout, too, because he knows that he's going to be gone.
Yeah, not only do Leaf fans kind of want him gone, for his sake,
I think
it's probably the time for him to go.
Yeah, I think that he stayed a bit too long in the blue and white. I think his time with us are up. And you know what? Jake was a soldier for this team.
He was, absolutely.
For so many years.
He was around for that old playoff run.
Yeah.
The 2013 playoff run. Well, ideally that one series.
He spent, almost 8 seasons with the Leafs? Like the Leafs team?
Yeah, yep.
And he spent close to 10 with the organization.
It's a long time, man.
That's a long, long time. So, say what you want about Gardner, but hats off. I think he's going to be a Minnesota Wild.
Really?
I think so. I think he's going to Mini. And
for the Leafs, look, there's lots of question marks going into this offseason. And once kind of like the actual playoffs and whatnot roll on and get kind of over, I guess, we'll be able to kind of get a gist of what's going to be happening if Mitch Marner signed by the end of the actual NHL season or whatnot.
One last thing about the Leafs, and then we'll go around the league. With Kyle Dubas, it was quite interesting what he said when questioned about, is Mike's future in jeopardy with the team? And he basically said, yeah. He didn't say that, no, Babcock, Mike is our coach, and he's going to be our coach. And he didn't say that. He didn't. That was quite...
He said kind of like nobody's safe, and we're like,
that was quite interesting. Yeah. I don't think he's going to be fired this season, but if the same thing happens next season, he's definitely gonzos.
It's true. That's what I believe in. But now you want to go around the league and quickly run around the playoffs here. The Columbus Blue Jackets are up 2-1 on the Boston Bruins
after going down 1-0.
Yeah, losing in overtime 3-2 to the Boston Bruins. Columbus wins Game 2 in overtime in Boston and then wins 2-1 in Columbus.
Man, that Nationwide Arena was rocking. Their first second-round appearance ever.
Good. And they're beating the Bruins.
Well, you saw Marchand up to his tactics.
Yeah, the little smack from behind.
Who's that, Seth Jones?
I thought it was Scott Harrington, to be honest with you.
He's number 4. Seth Jones is 4.
I don't think it was Scott Harrington.
I thought it was Scott Harrington. Seth Jones 3 or 4?
It was 3, wasn't it?
I don't know. But anyways, cheap shot, wasn't penalized on the play.
No supplemental discipline at all.
This guy gets away with too much. But anyways, you can see Columbus go up 3-1 today. Yes.
Second?
Yeah.
Yeah, tonight at 7:30.
So they're still at home.
In Columbus, yeah.
That cannon's rocking.
But this is the same situation the Leafs were in. They had a 2-1 series lead at home against the Bruins, looking to take a 3-1 lead. Couldn't do it.
I don't know.
We'll see what Columbus can do tonight.
I think that they're just running with too much magic with Sergei Bobrovsky's look unbelievable. He's looked great.
And the additions have done pretty damn good, too.
Except for Ryan Dzingel.
Right, but the team is just gelling, and everyone's fired up and ready to go.
Matt Duchene, like you said, Atkinson, Foligno.
Yep.
They're a heavy team.
They really
are. They
are.
got Josh Anderson, Foligno, Dubinsky, Seth Jones, Scott Harrington. Heavy team. So
they're able to go against the Boston Bruins, and they have better speed than the Boston Bruins does.
Let's go Columbus.
The Carolina Hurricanes are looking to sweep the New York Islanders. They're tomorrow night at 7 o'clock in Carolina.
And I'm the first person to say that if either the Washington Capitals move on or the Carolina Hurricanes move on and face the Islanders, they're going to get steamrolled. All the way around. I'm banging my head for saying that.
I think we're all saying that, though.
Well, yeah. I'm shocked that the Islanders aren't even putting up a fight.
I mean, they lost game 1 in overtime, 1-0 in New York. They lost 2-1 in New York.
Who would have thought the Eastern Conference semifinals would have a goalie matchup of Robin Leonard versus Peter Mrazek / Curtis McElhinney? Before the season, all of these goalies that are in this series were free agents in the 2018 offseason.
Well, McElhinney wasn't.
Oh, true. Okay.
But
Mrazek and Leonard were.
Yeah. But you look at the teams that are still left in the Eastern Conference. You got Columbus, the Islanders, and Carolina. Imagine having a Columbus-Carolina conference finals, and it looks like this could possibly happen.
That's so greasy.
I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. But good for Carolina for finally doing something.
This is why hockey is so good.
Yes, this is why hockey is magical. And this is why, thank goodness, Columbus swept Tampa Bay, but even got past the first round because more teams are going to be doing what Columbus did on trade deadline.
Oh, yeah, going all in.
And I think the Leafs maybe should do it next year.
Kind of what the Blue Jays did back in 2015, getting Price to Tulowitzki. You guys like that, trading everybody the deadline.
But you don't see this in the NHL. You see this in basketball. You see this in baseball sometimes, but never in hockey.
No,
Columbus Blue Jackets, hats off to Jarmo Kekalainen and their owner, which I don't know the name of, that managed to pull off. And plus, they only have 2 picks in the draft. Why even show up?
Who, Columbus?
Yeah. They got like a 3rd and a 7th.
Why not? At this point in time. Now let's go to the Western Conference, and the St. Louis Blues and the Dallas Stars are 2-2 right now. Dallas won last night there 4-2, and both teams have split. Both teams have split at home and on the road.
Did you see that Asa Lindell
diving session?
Yeah. That was horrible.
It was horrendous. It was like 3 or 4 different times.
It looks good on him because the ref didn't even call that penalty on him, right?
So stupid.
And then Patrick Maroon scored a goal after that, I think, or something like that.
I don't know, something like that. But
that had to be the worst dive I've ever seen. And then Ben Bishop last game took notes, and now the player did slash him in the back, but he really just kind of dove.
Goalies do that though.
Yeah,
goalies do embellish quite often.
Right, but that's ridiculous. After that, I hope Dallas gets smoked in the next 2 games.
Game 5 actually is in St. Louis there tomorrow night. 9:30 puck drop.
I think that the Calder nominee, Jordan Binghamton, is gonna pull past the Dallas Stars. I think St. Louis in 7. It's gonna be tight, but I'm gonna say St. Louis.
I totally forgot what I said for this playoffs.
I forgot whatever. But right now, let's just say
I'm gonna say Dallas in 6. I'm gonna go off the board a little bit here and say Dallas in 6.
I don't know.
Now let's go to the second round matchup here between the San Jose Sharks and the Colorado Avalanche. San Jose won game 1 5-2. Then Colorado won game. It's funny. Colorado does not like game 1s. They lost 4-0 to Calgary in game 1 in round 1. They lose 5-2 in game 1 against San Jose.
They're the major underdogs in both these teams are facing right now. And if there had to be a Conn Smythe winner right now out of any team in the playoffs, Nathan MacKinnon needs that.
He's been incredible.
So good. Rantanen has been nowhere to be found. Landeskog's been iffy, but him and Tyson Barrie are awesome together.
They've been incredible.
Amazing.
Look, that's the only reason this team is still afloat. But look, Game 4 goes tonight in Colorado at 10 o'clock there tonight.
I think it's going to be the Sharks in 5.
I think it's going to be Sharks in 6. I think they're going to win in 6. Colorado's got some fight.
Good on Colorado, honestly, for getting past the first round. Sweet.
Why not have a Columbus-Carolina Eastern Conference final and then have Dallas and Colorado? Just why not?
No, these playoffs have been the craziest ever.
It's been awesome.
It's been so awesome.
Ideally, the Leafs losing hasn't been awesome, but
but other than that, man, this has been awesome. I mean, not good for Canadian audiences watching on CBC and all that.
But as for a hockey fan, beautiful.
Yep. 100%. So do you want to get into the podcast questions?
Yeah, we have quite a few of them, so we're just going to kind of rip through them here. And because we have some questions from Mo Buckets and Blue Jays Wave on Instagram, there's a ton of the questions there. We'll get to them too. Yep, all right, so Sandro. All right, my man. And in 2 games against Philly so far, Van Vliet has provided only 3 points, 3 assists, and 7 rebounds in both. So that's combined both games. Is his height a liability? And do you attempt to give McCaw or Jeremy Lin a few more minutes?
You said McCaw, I said Lin. So I think that you're throwing McCaw first over Lin. I do agree with you there. Yeah. But throwing Jeremy Lin if things are really down the shitter.
I agree. Freddie's really struggled.
Throwing him, I don't know why Jody Meeks is really playing, to be honest with you.
No, I don't really know either, to be honest. But I don't know. I like the addition of McCaw and Jeremy Lin. Now, No Frills 86. Actually,
this isn't really a question, but we're going to answer it.
So I'll read it out. He said, I got a podcast question. How come you don't reply to the comments and questions left on your YouTube videos? A lot of subscribers leave very interesting and thought-provoking viewpoints. And the reason why I don't reply to a lot is because there's a lot of comments, and I got a job. I have, a lot of things going on in my life. Look, YouTube is a big thing for me. I love doing it, and I will always continue to do this. But
family and job first, and YouTube always second. Now, if you want to ask us a specific question, add us on Twitter. We're more
Twitter
active.
Is very, very easy to answer questions.
We're more active on our Twitter than James's main channel. I think you're referring to James's channel, not the podcast channel.
Because on the channel, my man, if you're talking about like Raptors and stuff like that, there's over 100 and something comments, and I mean it's not easy just to rip through them and comment back to everybody.
I mean, maybe
there are some that are provoking points. I'm not going to deny that, but it's not easy to get to everybody.
I mean, maybe we should be a bit more active. But we could always do better, but. If you want us to answer a question, a very important question that you think, you know what, I want to know what these guys think of this situation with the Raptors, Blue Jays, or Leafs, do it on Twitter. DM James or at the Teal Sports Talk, and then we'll definitely answer it. So do it on Twitter if you have a question.
It's much easier to contact me
than on YouTube.
All right, thanks for your question, though, my man. Stephen W., what is the one person / group that needs to step up for the Raptors for the 3rd game in Philly? I feel like that was kind of a rhetorical question. He wanted me to answer a certain way. The reason why, he said person / group. I think he means a bench unit. But one person, I think it's Fred VanVleet. I think he's the catalyst. He's your point guard in your second unit. You got to have something going. The only thing he had in game 2, he had in 18 minutes, he had 4 rebounds. That's it.
Freddie, Serge, and the bench, and maybe Lowry. But Freddie and Serge, 100%.
I say, well, and then I could also say Danny Green as well. That's my guy as well.
There's a lot of people, man.
Danny Green, Fred VanVleet. Those are my 2 guys.
Okay. Simple time.
Stephen W. again. Thoughts? We already talked about that, about the whole Masai situation.
Question. Don't read into it, my man. It's just false advertisement or just false news from the Washington Post.
Roderick, who is your Blue Jays MVP for April? Freddie Galvis, the guy that's hitting 300, and he's been not only just a great player on the field, he's been an amazing player off the field for the Jays, and he's ideally one of the catalysts on the offense. He's batting number 1 in the lineup.
I think I'm going to go with my man, Rowdy Tellez.
Why is that?
I don't know. I just like his energy. I just like his power hitting. I just think that he's a major piece. If Smoke leaves, boom, you throw him in there. Rowdy Tellez.
There you go. So there's our. Now we got Mr. Anonymous. There's a lot of questions from him. I'm going to try and quickly get through them here.
Yeah.
Thoughts on the Jays shopping Stroman and Sanchez? We already talked about that. I would lock up Stroman and trade the others. Well, there you go. There's your opinion. We already talked about our opinions there earlier in the video. Do you think the Jays should pursue Dallas Keuchel? You already talked about that. He's a really good pitcher, and
I think they should if they get rid of
presence.
I think they should if they get rid of either Stroman or Sanchez. Why not? Send him to 1-year deal. He'll accept it.
No, I don't know if he has a whole pick attached to it.
So I don't know if
they. So I don't know if they want the Jays are even thinking about
give up a 7th or a 10th. I don't even know how many.
Well, no, it would be like a first because the Jays lost Edwin, or when the Jays lost Edwin, they got a 1st-round pick, which actually became Nate Pearson.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows if
I don't think they would do that. I think they want to keep as many.
If the pick is attached, if it is, I agree with you. Don't do that. But if it isn't, why not?
What are your thoughts on Corey Kluber's injury? Is his career over, or is it possible he'll be back from that? I mean, look, yes, it was a really bad injury, but again, I think he'll bounce back at some point in time. I don't think he's done for his career. Do you agree with the Raptors trading Greg Monroe? I didn't like it when they I was kind of confused about them trading Greg Monroe.
Because we gave up a pick, too, with Greg Monroe.
Right, and he wasn't terrible. I mean, you think about the guy who replaced him, a guy like Eric Moreland, and I mean, he's worse than Greg Monroe. So I'm not really sure why they moved
salary because we signed him too. It wasn't like a team dumped him on the Raptors, cap wise.
Right. So
weird. I don't know.
Do I agree with the Raps trading Monroe? No. Not really. But it's not hurting the team. But they didn't really game. Yeah, but you can't expect that to happen. But the next question from him: do you think Nick Nurse made the Raptors lose the last game? I feel like he did big time when he reminded me of what Casey did last year. Why would he take the starters out without grabbing the lead and momentum? I mean,
well, if the bench wasn't performing, I do kind of.
You also look at the minutes of the way the starting unit. I mean, look, there's 48 minutes in a basketball game. 3 of your 5 guys were over 40 minutes.
And plus, if you play them too much, they get a higher percentage of being injured and overworked. You don't want that. You have a bench for a reason. I get the bench wasn't performing, but you have to send them out.
Yep. You can't just not play them and play them all 48 minutes. Exactly. You just can't do that.
Yeah.
If we were trading for Stroman, what would you expect in return? For me, I would only trade him if we could get Astros' top 2 prospect, which probably won't happen, so I wouldn't trade him. He's a Cy Young candidate and will help the young guys. I do agree with that final point about him, Cy Young type of guy, but you have a lot of questions, my man. Holy smokes. All right, but I just don't see him being moved. That's just my personal thought. We already talked about that. Do you think we would be better with Conley than Lowry? No. Period. End quote. Yeah. That's just my thought on that. Raptors need to get rid of Lowry's contract, even if it's the Suns for second rounder, and try and get Kemba or Kyrie. I mean, I don't really see them moving a guy like Kyle Lowry, just the way he plays with this team, the dog he is, and the way he is the corner. Other than Kawhi, he's the cornerstone of this team.
Plus, he's been with us for so long. Why would you want to get rid of him for who
right.
did you say?
A second rounder, but just so you can free up the space to get Kyrie or Kemba in the offseason. I don't feel... Would they come here is the question. I don't know.
I mean, this is a Messiah we're talking about, and he did trade away the most beloved Raptor, and then it's panned out quite nicely for us.
Yeah.
So far.
Now, Isaiah says, feelings for Stroman Sanchez Moak trade, ideal trade pieces to come back. Like I talked about, it would probably be like the Tampa Bay trade where they got 2 really good young players for a really good player. That's my personal thought for that. So Isaiah, again, would you trade if the Blue Jays are close to the wild card?
No.
I think you just kind of run the table. You just let it happen the way it's going to happen. Kind of what the Leafs did back in 2016.
No, because I remember when the Leafs were extremely bad. Yeah, exactly. 2016, we were very close to a playoff spot. And then we didn't make any moves, and then we just faltered.
Sorry, Brian Boyle, no.
No. That was the year before where we got Matthews. We came dead last. We were actually close to a playoff spot at one point, and we didn't make any moves, and then we just went down. Because, listen, you would not want to give up any of your prospects because, the Jays might make the playoffs. No. Sorry, but no.
Mr. Anonymous, back with a couple questions here to end it off. Do you think Kawhi Leonard will stay? I think it all depends what happens in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't even know why you said that. I would. It was just a rhetorical question. All
right, so that's it for the podcast questions. Now, my main man Mo Buckets and Blue Jays Wave on
we're
Instagram.
gonna do a few. Yes, follow him up. He's like our sponsor now. Love it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome here. Let me just see if I can get through some of these. Matthew says, could this Blue Jays team contend for the wild card?
No.
As of right now, they're doing okay, but I don't see it happening over 162 games.
Next year, yes.
Same guy asked, do you believe Stroman Sanchez and Smoke will be traded? My thoughts, Smokey, but we'll talk about that. Should they trade Stroman? Alicia, I don't want him to be traded, but we'll have to wait and see how that happens. Is Vladdy being hyped too much and anything? This is Terran Lover XOX.
I think he's being hyped a little bit too much, to be honest with you.
He's being hyped up because he's the best prospect in baseball.
Right,
that's why.
Because it is the Toronto media, and because this Blue Jays team hasn't had a Vladdy type of player in a very long time. Right. Well, not a very long time, but a couple of years, yeah. So a little bit, but he is going to be the Vladdy we know and love. Or that we're going to hurt, yeah.
Here we got Paige says, do you think Brandon Drury's hitting streak will continue? Well, I think he got. I think it was 0 for yesterday, but I mean, I think he's going to continue to hit well. He's hitting the ball really well. He's got to stay off those tough pitches, but clearly, I think he'll continue. Adam says, "Do you think Vladdy will? How do you think Vladdy will be by the end of the year? I think he'll be what we expected. Pretty good hitter. I think he'll find
Give him
his
another
way.
month.
He'll find his way. Benji says, where is a good source to find out more about the current roster and how each player became a Blue Jay? There's all kinds. There's Baseball Reference. There's the MLB, obviously the MLB app. You can see all the transactions for each player, so it's really interesting to see on there. Scott says, why should Shapkin's haters change their mind? Because you look at the prospects and you see all these amazing young players, and you will see these kids come and play. You just wait a year or two, and you see these great players come up, then you will change your mind. That'll change you. Nick Hunt says, will Ben Revere play in the MLB? I sure damn hope so. Ben Revere,
he free agent still?
He got re-signed by the Blue Jays to a minor league deal.
Oh, real? Okay.
So I don't know what the plan is for him. I don't know what they're going to be doing.
He was great with the Blue Jays a couple years ago.
Yeah, he was
Give him
amazing
energy,
with that 2015 season. Loved it. Traded him for Drew Storen, who didn't last half a year. So that sucked. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Mo3 Azar, I think it's something like that. Love the podcast. Thoughts on how Pompey, Travis, and Gurriel Jr. will fit on this roster. Gurriel Jr. I have no problem with because his bat's great. He's down in the minor leagues.
You say Pompey?
Yeah.
I think Pompey's done.
I think him and Devin Travis, time as a Blue Jay is just about over with. But that's that. Clayton Richard, what's up with him? That's Brock Davis. He's injured and probably won't be back. So that's the end of that, guys. That's all the questions on Blue Jays Wave on Instagram.
A lot of questions today. But, guys, thank you very much for listening to episode 17, season 2 of the Teal Sports Talk podcast. We'll be back next week. Same time?
I'm going to
Wednesday, Thursday?
Yeah, something like that.
Send me a text.
Yeah, I'll send you a text.
But, yeah, guys, well, thank you for listening. And, again, if you have a question that you want us to answer, do it on Twitter. Is it at _Teal Sports Talk? I don't even know. Okay.
At _Teal Sports Talk.
At _Teal Sports Talk. Follow up. DM James at James, or I guess it's our Twitter, but whatever. And then we'll answer it. But for YouTube, you don't expect poor James to go through 100 and whatever comments. So
yeah, it's not easy, people.
No,
but I want to give the shout out to Mo Buckets. We hope to have you on the podcast very soon, my man.
Yeah, we're trying to make that
and talk
reality.
Blue Jays. Appreciate all the questions you had for us and all your followers on Instagram. Appreciate them coming over
every single week
and listening to the podcast. All the questions that they have every single week. It's a lot of fun. And again, thank you guys. If you guys have not followed up Blue Jays Wave on Instagram, please do so. Again, Blue Jays Wave.
No dots, no underscores, just Blue Jays Wave.
You can.
I think there's a dot.
He is the most followed Blue Jays fan page on Instagram.
It won't be that
so
hard to find them.
No, you just type in Blue Jay. Yeah, no dots or anything. Blue Jays Wave on Instagram, guys. Go check that out. He's a great guy to talk to. Posts great stuff. Go follow him up. All right, and I'll talk to you guys later tonight. Jays edition. The last game against LA. Thank God. 10:07 first pitch there in LA as Aaron Sanchez is on the mound for the Blue Jays and Tyler Skaggs on the mound for the Los Angeles Angels. And as for the Raptors, Game 3 of their Eastern Conference semifinal matchup against the Philadelphia 76ers is tonight. 8 p.m. Tip-off there.
At the Wells Fargo.
There you go.
Be a nail biter.
All right, so thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll talk to you guys tonight. And Evan and I will talk to you guys either Wednesday or Thursday next week, same time as today. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll talk to you guys then.
Peace.